Welcome to SorWil Solutions, where we talk about what's going on in our community. I'm Joe Wilson, the CEO of SorWil Technology Solutions, our host and sponsor. I'm with Ken Miller, a communications professional in our community, Kathryn Hancock, our director of marketing, and today we have the honor of having the Mayor of Leavenworth, Holly Pittman.
Hello. I'm excited to be here.
Honor to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Yay. I'm glad to be here.
That's exciting.
It's cold outside, but we're all here.
That's
I
right.
think my car read -8 on the way over here. -8.
That's awful.
So we're all here.
Yes. So I would like to get into this with you telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, how you got into your role of everything.
Okay. Well, my name's Holly Pittman. My real name's Hollister, so some people don't know that.
Oh,
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
a little tidbit. My real name's Hollister, but I go by Holly. Hollister was my mom's best friend's last name, and she also loved the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, Holly
yeah.
Golightly, and so she got to thinking. Obviously, she had a lot of time to plan this out before I was born, but if I named her Hollister, I could shorten it to Holly, and then it would be kind of an ode to Breakfast at Tiffany's. So. But anyway, my name is Holly. I've lived here my entire life. My dad's retired lieutenant colonel. He was already older when he had me, so I got all the perks of being an Army brat without having to move. So which was very nice. So I've always lived in Leavenworth. So that means I went to kindergarten through 12th grade in the Leavenworth school districts, which was fantastic. And then I went to college. I did go to University of Kansas and Rock Chalk.
Yes.
That's right. I majored in public health. And so in the early 90s, I graduated in 97, but I started volunteering at HIV and AIDS. And so I did that most of my career after college. I was kind of on the forefront of that epidemic. So it was kind of funny when COVID was first came on, they're like, kind of called me back, and I'm like, nope, I've already checked off my epidemic for my lifetime. So I did that, and then moved back here and just started getting involved in the community. And I always called myself a Leavenworth super fan. Love Leavenworth, love everything Leavenworth, love
You
our
are a
city.
huge community advocate.
And so at one point I thought I was kind of behind the scenes all the time, just everyone's cheerleader. And then I thought, well, let me put myself out there. So I ran in 2023 I ran, and I won. I actually got the most votes in history of Leavenworth.
Wow.
So that's pretty exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was very excited and really appreciated the support. And then because the way that we are not a strong mayor where we're all equal, it's just that we kind of it's more rotated, ceremonial, but we now have it into our ordinances, our statutes, that whoever gets the most votes in the election becomes the mayor, and then the second highest votes becomes mayor pro tem. So
That's a 1-year term.
And it's a 1-year term. So I started my mayorship in December of 2024, and then it'll go all this year till the end of 2025. So
That's
I have
awesome.
1 year. Clock's ticking.
Now,
Let's
you
go.
said-
Let's go.
You said you went to Leavenworth?
I did. I went to Leavenworth High School,
Did
graduated in
you-
91.
were
Yes,
you
we
guys
went
in
to
the
high
same-
school
We went to
together.
high school together. We
Okay.
did.
I'm a year older than him, though.
Don't tell your age.
I will never tell my age. But yeah, 1 year older, 1 year wiser.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was a cheerleader, and you played lots.
Everybody knew. Holly
No,
Pittman.
I don't know. It was
Everybody knew
well,
Holly
Shehorn back then,
That's
but
right.
you were into sports, right?
Yeah, I
No,
was an ROTC.
ROTC. Okay,
He was a nerd.
he was a nerd. Yeah.
I was an ROTC, and I was into drama. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
What was your biggest role on the stage?
So I think I was in a play, and I played Thor Waldgrave, where it was a young child. I had to shave my legs for the part.
Oh,
Mr. Bagnall was the drama teacher.
Bagby.
Bagnall.
Oh, it was Bagnall.
Bagnall, Mr. James Bagnall,
Oh.
the drama teacher. Had to shave my legs for the part, and I played an 8-year-old kid, and I mean, everybody was screaming my name afterwards. I loved it. It was
Oh my gosh.
incredible.
Oh, this podcast took a turn.
It did. I had no idea. And you
Yeah.
only did that one role, and then you didn't go
Yeah,
back.
I
Like,
did
did you
Born
mic drop after
Yesterday.
that, or
I did Born Yesterday. I played the lead in Born Yesterday. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had
Wow.
no idea. Well, Leavenworth Community Theater, I think we've got a.
Now my acting days are over, but we're talking about
Oh, okay.
Holly Pittman now. Nice pivot.
Well,
Good job.
You're
and I
welcome.
got to know Holly through, of course, your husband,
Mhm.
Senator Pittman,
Yep.
Jeff Pittman. And I think one of the first times that we actually got a chance to talk, um, I remember going back and looking at some of your social media. And I think I even told you, like, your social media and the way you
Boom.
approach it. And I appreciate this as somebody who gobbles up politics,
Mhm.
local, and is always very positive. And
Absolutely.
you don't see that 95% of the time. Why do you do it that way?
I just think the whole thing where you leave a bad review at a restaurant and it takes like 10 positives reviews to like make up the one negative review. I just kind of have that philosophy like why be so negative? Why start your day off like that? Because I think positivity always wins in the end. I mean, obviously maybe not always, but I just think it's just a better way of approaching things when there's so many amazing things that go on in our community, but they're so foreshadowed by the trash not being picked up
Mm.
and people complaining. And I know that's frustrating. I get it, but let's talk about like all the great things the trash people are doing. Like
Mhm.
the other day, I got a nice little letter about how there's little lady couldn't get her trash can back up, and the guy stopped and pulled it back up for her. I mean, so they're doing great things, and I think those things need to be highlighted, not just the negative things. And you just feel better when you read positive things. The negativity just it weighs you down. So I
Yeah.
just kind of approach life that way.
Yeah, but was it distressing? And I think I already know the answer to this question, but was it distressing to you after our latest election cycle? And Senator Jeff lost by what it was at 31 votes
31,
after.
31 votes out of 31,000.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And and I think your husband did kind of follow in your footsteps in terms of I always more than likely read positive things coming out of his social media feeds, hearing him on the campaign trail, whatnot. Um, what what does that say? The fact that I mean, and it was a whisker. He lost by a
Yeah,
whisker,
we did.
but we've seen what's happened both locally, I think, and to a certain extent nationally now. You're a positive person. How does that affect you moving forward? You're the mayor of Leavenworth. How do you move forward? You're going to keep the positivity going,
Right.
but it didn't really work for everybody else this
No,
last
it
time.
it was very negative. It was a lot of money spent on that campaign. I think it was someone told me it was like the most spent money. They wanted to flip that seat, and it was a red wave. I mean, we lost. We really lost in base there, where no one
Mhm.
really knew us. But yeah, I mean, politics is negative, and I expected a lot of it. I expected, the stuff about the taxes, the stuff about gosh, I can't even remember. I put it out of my head, but you expect it to some level. Unfortunately, it got personal, and that's where I draw the line. We just don't run campaigns like that, and if we have to lose that way, then we lose that way. Because I have the philosophy, and my husband has the philosophy, like, look, we have to live here for the rest of our lives, and I don't want we're going to probably die here. So I don't want to be known as those people that say those things about those people because that's just not who we are as people. It's not how we raise our children. Um, and so we just kind of have to put the negativity aside. But it hurt. I mean, some of the things it got real personal. There were some phone calls made, and it hurt, and it's kind of like this, but
Mhm.
you just have to smile and wave, like, and just keep moving forward. Jeff nor I have quit doing the things for our community. Um, he was responsible for bringing the Leavenworth Prison Museum here, which is right across the street, and we're
Mhm.
working on
Mhm.
that. We're going to keep growing. We're hoping that's going to be a huge destination in a tourism for not only Lansing, but hopefully that falls over into Leavenworth. Just keep moving on. Just keep being positive. Just start you know that's part of my mayorship is I have some initiatives that I want to do. One is economic development, which I know you've just got on the board,
Mhm.
right, for the
For LCDC.
LCDC,
Yep.
so that's exciting. We need more rooftops, and Lansing just
Yeah,
passed
Lansing
the
especially. Yeah.
yeah, and Leavenworth's kind of landlocked, and we've got some spots where we still got some land, and I know Lansing just passed the RWID,
Hmm.
and basically that is, for people that don't know, that is just another incentive to bring rooftops to our community. And so right now, that's one of the things, that's my number one thing that I want to do is get that passed um, to the to the commission while I'm mayor. And I think Lansing study showed you need 300 new homes or something,
Need
or one
or
or something.
well,
The
the
study
plan is
showed.
between 400 and 500
Oh, okay,
right now
yeah.
for that development that's kind of south of the center of town.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Leavenworth, we're waiting on our study to come back, but it's probably going to
Mhm.
be that or more. So
Mhm.
you've probably seen the paper where the superintendent was saying our enrollments are down. Well,
Mhm.
some of we don't have houses. We need more rooftops,
Right.
and we need affordable rooftops, not McMansions. We need something that
Sure.
we can afford here. So
Mhm.
working to get some rooftops, as well as working with our downtown to get the second story developed with this initiative. A lot of businesses own brick and mortars downtown, and they can't afford to redo their second story because either fire suspension or just the cost. And so this RHID will help with the cost for that. So help bring that in.
Oh,
One of the things I think, Joe, I know you brought it up during your campaign because you and I talked about it. And I know you talked with Commissioner Culberson about it, was the 152 bridge.
Yeah.
And that's something, if you go back, and this is before your time, but there wasn't all that much support coming from the Leavenworth City Commission for that project. And I've heard, and this is why we're having you on
Yeah.
the show, one of the reasons that attitude towards that bridge maybe is changing a little bit. Can you confirm that?
I can't talk to the other commissioners because I've actually never had a conversation about it. But I know that they wanted the Centennial Bridge was number one priority. That was number one priority for Fort Leavenworth.
And that's on KDOT's
And that's
list now.
on, yeah. So by 2029, we should have the new bridge. It was getting slowed down a little bit. From my understanding, was the trains there and the Corps of Engineer, but I think that's all been worked out. So we're on par for 2029. So now that that's a go, I think, yeah, there's probably will be an appetite. It's not something we've got a new city manager. We've not had a conversation about that yet, but
And you're good with it coming through on Eisenhower because I think for Lansing and Leavenworth, that makes the most sense.
yeah, and I've actually need to relook at that. I haven't really looked at that, so that's probably something that
It was a
I need
huge,
to
it
look
was
at.
a
Yeah.
hot topic as I was discussing it, and
Mhm.
the people who I talked to, a couple of people who have land on that who may not be very willing to give that land up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's
That
going to
would be my
be
concern.
interesting
Yeah.
to see if that gets passed. But the potential for what it could do for our
Right.
community is huge. I mean, getting to the airport, I think Jeff said 7 minutes. I don't know if that's realistic.
Mhm.
Well, I saw,
Probably
yeah, the
15.
video they put
Mhm.
out.
Yeah,
It's
he
7
did a
minutes.
nice video.
So
Yeah.
I,
is that Lansing's priority right now? Is that
I would not, and again, I'm a
Yeah.
communications
Yeah.
professional, right? I'm not the mayor, I'm not a city councilman. But I know it's something that Lansing is very interested in. I think what concerns anybody in Lansing and really in Leavenworth too, how's it going to be paid for?
Mhm.
And listening to Commissioner Culbertson, there was going to be a private financing. That's really the only way that you could get it done. But I've never really heard a lot of detail about who those private financiers were going to be, how willing, they got to get something out of
Right.
it. Does that mean really high tolls? Because then there have been studies that show you get the tolls too high and people are just going to avoid it, or
Right.
go around it. So, and I bring that up because you brought up the economic development
Right.
part of it.
And that'd be
Yes,
a huge tool to bring people here.
rooftops are obviously very key to that, but access is probably just as important. And a 152 bridge, I mean, you've been to Liberty, you see what it's done.
Right.
What
Well,
Liberty's
and
doing.
our business park, we're still, I know we've done several,
Right.
answer the call for the RFPs. Lots of them. They're doing a great job there at LCDC promoting that. But again, people complain. The stoplights on 7
Right.
are a big deterrent to get people in and out. But I know a lot of the people looking at it now are support for Panasonic. So
Mhm.
hopefully we'll start
See
filling
some
that.
spin-off
Yeah,
up here, too. That'd be
starting
nice.
to see that. So,
Yeah.
but that's another thing. We need to start bringing more businesses
Downtown.
to Leavenworth to
Mhm.
spread
Mhm.
out the tax base there. But and another hot topic is core civic.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw that the other day that they're going to be using that facility again that house migrants that are going to be sent back apparently.
Yeah, so we don't know. I don't know a whole lot yet, but what I do know is Trump signed, I think, yesterday some executive orders to, I guess, open private prisons again where Biden had it was an executive order to keep them closed. So those will be open again, and they're looking to use uh, our location here in Leavenworth
Mhm.
as a detention facility and
Yeah,
an ICE
specific.
holding facility. So
Mhm.
I do know that I'm being told they need a special use permit to open, and so that's where it's going to fall to the city of
They'd
Leavenworth.
still have to go through
They
you
have to still
guys.
go through
Yeah.
us. So, and that's about as much as I know about that right
That
now.
was a hot topic when it was discussed in the past about opening that up
Mhm.
for ICE facility,
Yeah.
and people in the community were concerned. I only know this because I was in a county commission meeting about
Mhm.
the safety of the area around there
Mhm.
and the possibility of migrants being let go into our community.
From what I'm understanding, they will not be released. It's going to be like and I don't know my prison terminology, so sorry,
Mhm.
people out
All
there,
good.
but it's going to be more like a holding facility for them before they're deported.
Mhm.
And I think they were going to like their location because it was near KCI, and
Mhm.
obviously they have it. But I've heard they've bought the building next door to it, the AT&T building, and so. But yeah, they have to go to the city to get a special use permit that they don't have right now. So,
If that gets passed, we're talking about $1 million in revenue for the city.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers yet. I don't want to say anything that I don't have the answers to, but I've heard 300 jobs,
Wow.
which would be great. But yeah, it's something that the city is going to have to look at, and I'm sure there's going to
Yeah.
be,
Hot topic.
yeah, both sides.
Yeah.
But Kansas allows private prisons. They don't allow it for the state to use a private prison, but states like Illinois and Minnesota, they don't allow state private prisons at all. So when they collect through the mass deportation, they collect these people. They can't house them there, so they have to have someplace close to house them. And I think that we're kind of the location. It's already built here, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that'll be coming up. And what the timeline is, I don't know, but I know I'm sure it was signed yesterday. The executive order. So
Right.
that'll be another thing that I want to focus on is communication through the city. Not only our Facebook page, but just I feel like for a long time we kind of kept our cards to our chest, and I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that
I was gonna say you've been posting a lot about what's going on
Right.
and keeping everybody in the loop, which is nice to see.
yeah, because then we're not making stuff up. Like
Yeah,
that's
and nobody can say anything because it came directly.
Yeah, I
from
want to
you.
put factual information, and it's their city too, so I want people to know what's going on. Yes, social media, and we're looking into a texting program, so you can kind of
My gov.
yeah, where you can opt in, and so when our lights aren't working downtown, hey, you can opt in to get updates about, hey, the lights aren't working, avoid this area. If there's a water main break, if there is an accident you can get text information about that. Or we can use it for our events. Breakfast with Santa, get tickets here. The
That'd be
daughter and
great.
daddy me, and you can opt into what you want to have. I mean, if you just want the emergency management piece, a tornado's coming, then you can get that, but you can opt into the other things. I think that would be a great way to let people know what's going on, and as well as social media. I get a little frustrated because sometimes so many things are going on, and our Facebook page is not been updated, but we are working on that. And it's going to be so I can put it on my page. And so I'm trying to get the information out, what's going on, communicate with the people. But I needed to help on their end too. So when something happens, don't just go blast this on social media.
Mhm.
Call me, reach me. We can problem solve this. We can
Maybe
get
confirm it
we
first.
yeah, we can confirm
right.
it, and we can get it done, and I can help. I've had some great conversations just this morning. Like one of the crosswalk signs are down on Ottawa Street, and it's been down for 9 days. It hasn't been fixed. Let me know. Thank you. And now I can call it in and I can get it fixed.
I
Instead
do
of
love how people reach out to you directly and comment on your Facebook like, "Hey, what's going on?" And you always respond like you never don't respond.
Well, and I appreciate it because sometimes I mean I can't be everywhere. Our crews can't be everywhere. Our city manager can't be everywhere, and that's how we know. It's like they're helping us. Again, positivity. They're helping us be a better city, helping us report these things, helping us let us know what's going on. Apparently, there was a car in Dylan's parking lot that was beat up, and I mean, a lot of people were complaining about it. So I had to figure it out. Does Dylan's tow it? Does the city tow it? And so I kind of like doing it because it's like a puzzle, and I'm learning as I go. Like this is how this works,
But
right?
it doesn't ever get to be too much because you're a mom, you're a wife, and then you're the mayor. I mean, that's
It is. I mean, no, it doesn't. I mean, I probably hit my quota on snow removal this week.
Yeah.
But, it was the fourth largest storm we've ever had, like in how many years or so. And I'm learning as we go, like, what do we do with all that snow? So we literally had to bring in machines. Lexico brought in machines and we're like pumping the snow out, like getting it out of downtown because we just can't move it in front of these stores. So um, it's a learning curve. But yeah, I enjoy it. I'm learning. And I think I asked our old city manager once, I'm like, how do you know all this? Like, how do you know so much? And he's like, well, I didn't on day one. So I'm hoping by day 364, I know a lot more than I did on day one about how to run city government because it's so much. I mean, it's what the cities do are just incredible, from trash removal to feral cats to mill and overlay
Right.
and to potholes and but I do enjoy people coming to me because people are going to remember that. And they're going to remember how you made them feel and if you can fix their solution. I can't always fix everything, but I'll try. I'll try hard.
Recently, you guys had some theatrics at the commission meeting. Somebody came and went on and on about the homeless problem.
Oh, yeah.
Dressed up as the homeless
dressed up
man.
as a
Yeah,
homeless
Dirty Mike
person,
or-
Dirty Mike, yeah. What has been the commission's focus on how are we going to problem solve the homeless problem, and what can we do to help? And
So I called for a study session just to find out what is going on, who are the players, what's happening, what's the collaboration. And so we had a study session. It's interesting. When we were interviewing city managers, one of the questions was, do you have a homeless population in your community? And how do you address it? How do you solve it? And every single one of those, I think we interviewed 5, all had a problem with homeless and none of them knew how to address it. So we're not isolated here. I mean, it's happening throughout. And these people we interviewed were all the way from Delaware to Washington. So it's not just us. It's everywhere. And so from that, I've decided to do a homeless task force. And so we're going to get some people in the community, key players. And I don't think we're going to solve it, but I would like to get the downtown businesses when the homeless people go into their stores and they try to take things or they're disruptive. I want to hear their opinion. So I want them at the table. I want obviously Miranda from the homeless shelter at the table. I want the churches at the table, all the key players that can help us and we can try to work together and come up with a solution. I see homelessness and mental health as 2 different things. And that's why we've got the guidance center. And I think they're doing a great job. They're now in the shelter. They're there on site as well as we have someone from the guidance center on our police staff now, as well as I think they're in the sheriff's department too. So we're trying to build those bridges. We're trying to work together, but let's take it a step further. So when someone calls me, I have a solution. I can say, hey, this is what we're doing. We worked really hard with Miranda to come up with a plan for winter. And so we knew that the community center was going to be a warming center during the hours that were open. So the hours that were not open, we needed to make sure there was somewhere for them to get fed, somewhere for them to go. And that's why we had this whole plan with the interfaith shelter and we laid that out. But we still got slack on it. I mean, even though they look like the city doesn't care that we're not doing anything, that's not true. I mean, I worked with her. We sat down and laid this all out so that we wouldn't get flack, but we did. But that's okay. It worked out. I don't think the homeless shelter was ever full, but we had a plan and it wasn't full. Yeah. So they had a place to go. We had a system. When someone called me, I was able to give them an answer. And I want to do more of that stuff. So the homeless task force will probably start in March. Anybody out there want to be on it? Let me know. First, we got to figure out what our objectives are and work through that. Again, we're not going to solve homelessness. We're not going to solve mental health, but we can work together and have a plan and hopefully get some answers. We get some complaints from, we get a lot of complaints from certain homeless people. You probably, know who they are. And what scares me is we know it's just da da da. He's harmless. But when you're walking down the street and you're
Mhm.
a Fort Leavenworth spouse who've only been here a month and they approach you and they scare you, it's scary,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
And so how do we handle that? Do we arrest him? Arrest them? Do we put him? I mean, what we need a system for that. And I know there was one in place, but I don't want anybody to ever be scared to go downtown or be scared to walk in our community because they're not sure what's going to happen. So, but yeah, I'm hoping we'll form this task force and work together.
So through all the political campaigns, and you're serving as mayor now, you've been on the city commission for a while. What's your biggest takeaway in terms of approach, not only to getting things done, but how to be perceived? And I think you probably have a leg up on a lot of people because of your social media
Yeah.
experience. But as I'll say it, as a kingmaker, but also now as a king or queen, what have you learned in terms of how to approach problems and how to change people's perceptions
What do you mean change him like as of the community? Like what?
to try and get things done? Some people use a hammer, some people use
Oh,
honey,
yeah.
and I'm sure it's a mix.
It's a mix,
Yeah.
like the carrot approach, like the carrot at the end of the stick. Sometimes you dangle the carrot and have them, and then sometimes you got to stick them with a stick. But uh, my personality is I'm kind of like the cheerleader for the community. So I want to help if I can help. Sometimes I take it too personally when I can't help. Um, but sometimes I just don't have a solution, or you just have to say, you have to be the adult in the room and say, no, it's not going to work. Um, but yeah, I just really appreciate when people come to me, tell me what's going on. Sometimes I have to apologize because it's the only thing I can do. Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but let's try to fix it.
Mhm.
And just be positive and try to find the answers for them. I don't really know if I have an approach other than just get it done. Like, I try to do things right when they come in because as I get older, I forget.
Mhm.
And I write, like, I have to write everything down. Like, today I have a meeting with Scott, our city manager, and I have a list of everything um, that people have complained about or that need, like, the crosswalk sign on Ottawa. Um, I can think of some things that I got this morning. So when the plows were coming through, they damaged some of people's yards. How do we handle that? I don't know the answers to that.
Knocking down
Right.
mailboxes,
Yeah,
right?
knock down.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
mailbox one, but I don't know, like, gravel was moved. There's just so many things that I get that I don't know the answer. So I try to knock them out as soon as they come in because I think I know we live in a fast food world. Like, people expect it instantly. And so I do try to provide that service instantly. But sometimes it takes a while. It really does. But the city has an amazing department heads. Our police chief is amazing. Public Works, and just every Parks and Rec are just amazing. And so they're pretty receptive when I call. And um, I feel like sometimes when you tell the mayor, it gets expedited
Mhm.
a little bit. So maybe that's people are learning that. That's why they come to whatever mayor it is or whatever city commission is. But I just try to get things done and just don't forget about it because then people are like, I told you that 10 days ago. And I don't want ever to go on social media and go, oh my gosh, I texted Holly Pittman and she didn't respond to me. That would be like, that would kill me. That would be like my worst nightmare. Like, I want to provide good customer service for our city. And I'm happy to be Leavenworth's help desk. I really enjoy it. I make a joke like, hi, thank you for calling the city of Leavenworth. This is Holly. May I help you?
Mhm.
Press 1 for potholes. Press 2 for Amber Alerts. Press 3 for feral cats. But no, I really do enjoy it. I find, I don't know, it's my purpose, I think. I just really enjoy being Leavenworth's cheerleader and trying to help out our community and really trying to make it a better place.
Well, you're Leavenworth's mayor and cheerleader. What about the future, though? And I
So I was about to ask, what's
Oh,
next?
I don't know.
Is there
What's
and
next
is
for
it
you?
an open question that maybe you get a different answer from Holly Pittman 2 years from now than you
Maybe,
would 2 months from
yeah.
now?
I don't know if I want to do the partisan politics. I saw what my husband went through, and I don't have to deal with the tough issues like I don't know, abortion or immigration or I don't know, even license plates. But I I like I like the nitty gritty of just the everyday grind of Leavenworth. I mean, I always tease my husband. I was like, my constituent work is 10 times what he had because I
Mhm.
think people wake up in the morning and they look outside their door and they're like, oh, I'll call Holly, right? And I love that. I love that they can call me and they feel comfortable calling me and they want to call me and I can try to help them fix it. Where Topeka was kind of far away and still not really sure what they do sometimes versus, and a lot of people don't understand the difference between national government,
Right.
state government, and then city local government and how that works. And important thing for local government, I think, is local control, right? We want to be able to have our local control because what works in Leavenworth might not work in Emporia, right?
Right.
It's all very different. But
Right.
I don't know. I kind of happy where I'm at. A lot of people have asked, why don't we change our form of government to be the strong mayor? And I don't know. I've heard several things. I've heard we've been voted on twice in our city, and it's never passed. Um, um, I think Jermaine was kind of looking at that for a
Mhm.
while, to be the strong mayor, an elected mayor. But I don't know if that would be a partisan position, like it would. Isn't yours a partisan? Isn't the city of Lansing? Isn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not, but
We're a
it's
second-class city, and it's got, the mayor is elected separately, but he or she would not have a vote unless the council,
oh, okay.
it's a 4-4 tie, basically.
But isn't it on the same year as the partisan races?
The mayor just got reelected
Yeah, during the
this
same
past
time as
November,
state
but there was
elections, right?
right, but there were no other council races at that time.
Oh,
Council races are coming up this year for half the dice.
so it's
Correct.
not during the same time. See, that's
I
what's
mean, but it
interesting.
used to be.
Oh,
It used to
okay.
be
See, that's
5-10
what's
years ago.
interesting. I haven't explored all that, but no, I'm happy where I am right now.
Wait, you've got the winning formula. The buck stops here. How even when you tell people no, I think most people are like, "But Holly, listen to me.
Well, I tried.
Heard my complaint." That's a winning formula for politics. If you think about it, not everybody does
Are
it
you
that
trying to
way.
get me to run for something?
No, I'm just trying to see if you're ready to tell us that you are.
No, I know I haven't actually really thought. I just saw what Jeff went through, and I'm like, no way do I want to do that.
I'm
Ugh.
ready to get Joe on the city commission.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I
That's
hear.
Yeah, he
Time.
got an endorsement a couple of weeks ago from somebody
Jermaine.
you know.
Yes. Wow. I think. Hey, step right up. We're ready.
Just
So what-
like
what-
everybody else, I'm not ready to.
But what's your greatest recommendation to him on how he should proceed if he decides that he's going to run?
Oh, get your name. Well, you got your name out there when you ran last time, so that's helpful. But just for me, it's talking to the people. You know the deal. You just did it, right?
Yeah.
Knocking the doors, shaking hands, listening, being involved in the community.
He's mad at me now.
He's- Yeah. Going. I found that when you hold town halls and things, hardly anybody comes, right? And
Mhm.
so I was like, well, how do we get to the people? Well, we got to go to them. So you invite me to your birthday party, I'm coming to your birthday party because I learn about. That's when people tell you, hey, do you know what's wrong with the city?
Get to meet them where
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
at.
meet them where they're at. And
Yeah.
so,
But Joe, I mean, you went through it, and I'm just going to say it, right? You worked really hard. You didn't have an R next to your name. And I think here we saw what happened.
yeah.
I know how hard you worked. So, I mean, and you're kind of an outlier. You don't have an R next to your name, but you won by more votes than anybody ever. So, how do we get
Yeah.
that Pittman success experience for somebody like this guy?
Well, I think it was that's where the partisan stuff comes in.
Mhm.
I think that we saw the last election that people will vote for the person when it's nonpartisan, but when it's partisan, it's the game. It changes everything. And there was a big red wave. I mean, it was Trump was he won bigly, as he would say. So,
Mhm.
but this is hopefully be a different focus. It's a nonpartisan.
I think people were just looking for change. We're
Well,
going to
that's true.
suddenly shift the
Off
topic
you?
off of me.
You're the
Uh,
drama guy.
You are, you're
as
the
we
drama
learned
guy.
today.
And so
Yeah.
we're going to shift that drama. We're going to move to another topic that we want
Okay.
to talk about.
That
Before we do that, is there anything coming up for the city of Leavenworth that we should let everybody know about? Is there anything you want to publicize at this point?
Do you have a book?
Do you have a book? No, I don't have a book like Jermaine. Darn it. No, I really, people will say, oh, stop bugging Holly, but I want people to know that I really do appreciate it. I would honestly, as much as there is so much fake news on social media, I love it when people come to me because then I can put the facts out there. I really do try to be just as helpful as I can and get things done. And so, yeah, keep tagging me. It doesn't bother me at all.
I never got to thank you for all the help and mentoring you gave me in my campaign. What I really appreciate is you never try to draw me away from who I was,
Oh,
whether I was going to be an R or a United Kansan. You just gave me good, solid advice, and so I want, from the bottom of my heart, really thank you.
Aw.
Thank you for being there. I really appreciated that.
Well, and I
A
think
lot of venting that I had at times.
And still being his friend afterwards.
absolutely
still being my friend.
still being besties. I think that you have to be true to who you are because you just come off so fake and you don't come off to who you really are. Like I I I enjoy being Leavenworth's cheerleader. That's truly who I am. I love this city. Every time I go somewhere, my kids make fun of me because I'll say, "Oh," they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Holly. I'm from Leavenworth, the first city in Kansas." And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be from here. I really, truly want to give back to the city that raised me, and so now's my time to do it. And I've really been enjoying it. I'm learning so much, and our new city manager Scott, he's kind of learning with me, and so it's kind of been fun. I mean, we're in this adventure together, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy my other commissioners for the most part. We we're all very different. We've got Nancy, who's kind of like the mother. She's been there for a long time, and Jermaine, who's got a fantastic story, and then Griff and Ed, who are just great people. And so it's actually fun. Um, we have to make hard decisions sometimes, a lot of times, but that's what being a leader is about, right? But yeah, definitely stay true to yourself because people will call you out if you're not.
So now we like to shift to a segment where we just kind of talk about what's on our mind. It's a far lighter, really just a little more relaxed. And so we'll start with Kathryn. Kathryn, what's on your mind?
I finally have something today. I want to talk about the TikTok ban.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
back
Yeah.
though.
It is back, but it was gone for a good 12 to 15
How did you
hours.
survive?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I
It
was
was tough.
asleep for most of it, but
I know. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it late at night, huh?
yeah. Yeah.
But
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, it's back, so I
No,
hope
no,
it
it's
stays
back,
back.
but it's not necessarily back permanently,
You're right.
It's a 90-day reprieve.
right?
is that all we get? 90 days?
Is
Yeah.
TikTok going to
Yeah.
be an American company or it's
It has to be. I
subsidiary?
think Trump wants it to be 50% U.S. owned. So is Elon going to buy 50% of it?
I know the original owner took it out of his bio that he's no longer the CEO.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
The
So I
guy
don't know.
from
Singapore.
Singapore?
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what happens. But
I thought it was interesting how many people went to other apps
Oh,
of
the Red
Chinese
Note?
origin
Yeah.
Yeah.
that were because they liked the algorithm.
Oh, I thought the
Red Note.
TikTok funerals was funny. Like I'm
Yeah.
bringing like
There
the
was
girl who
some-
had her viral mac and cheese. She's like, I'm bringing my mac and cheese
Oh, yes, I did see that one
to the
too.
funeral.
Yeah.
And then how people were like saying goodbye to my Chinese spy.
it was really great, and it kind of brought everybody together.
It really did. Yeah, I didn't miss it too much because I wasn't gone that. But it's such. I didn't realize that how many people make money.
Oh,
That's their
Yeah.
The
livelihood.
algorithm is much better than
Yeah.
other social media.
And
plat-
that's what they're saying. Like it's really not buying the platform; it's buying that secret algorithm
Mhm.
that nobody knows about.
Mhm.
But
It can't seem to be reproduced. Ken, how about you? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm going to bring it down less positive. I think the
Uh-oh.
last time I talked about healthcare
oh,
and the bills. So now I think I've said it on this podcast, and anybody that cares to listen to me knows this, that I'm looking at retiring in 2025. And-
that's this year.
Yeah, that's this year. Yes. But, it's just, you always wonder, and you guys are all younger than I am, but you always wonder, like, did I do enough? Could I have started earlier? And I look at my daughter, who is 29 years old, and doing very well. They're already planning for retirement. When I was 29, I was wondering where my next six-pack of beer was
sure.
coming from, right?
Wow,
I
yeah.
wasn't thinking about retirement. I wasn't thinking about savings and all that. So I think, the younger generation, maybe it's getting drilled down into them. Like, don't wait till you're 50 to start saving for retirement. Right. So that's been my top of mind, and it's not a lighter subject. So I don't want to be eating dog food when I'm 90 years old if I live that
I'll
long.
never allow you to eat dog food. my friend.
See, this is why I'm on this
Yeah.
podcast,
I
right?
can't hurt my friend.
Yeah.
For me, not quite as light either, but this month my parents would have celebrated their 54th anniversary. My father passed away in 2015, but it just takes me to think about, to be married to the same person for 54 years and all the trials and tribulations they went through. And, my wife and I will be married for, 28 years this year. It's not an easy job. You go into it, I think, very lighthearted, not really knowing what to expect. But it's a difficult job that remains constant.
It's one of the greatest
evolution.
teachers, isn't it?
It
Just
is.
learning from that.
Learning from somebody else, putting
Yep.
yourself
Mhm.
behind, putting yourself second is
Yeah.
not easy for people. I think.
Definitely.
And so as I look at my my daughter, and I talk to her about her marriage, and it's the tough times that pave way for the good times, and when you survive those, it
Mhm.
makes it all that much better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holly?
that's a good one. Oh my gosh, what's in my mind? Well, actually, today's on my mind is we're having a study session tonight about Camp Leavenworth
Okay.
and what that looks like for
It's always a hot
2025.
topic too.
Yeah, that's a hot topic we didn't talk about. That money is that we put on with Camp Leavenworth is paid for by the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So, like, basically hotel tax. When you stay in our community and you pay that tax, that's what kind of
Right.
goes into that. And so we're going to be discussing that tonight. And so we did really well in, I think it was 2022 when Melissa Etheridge was here.
Okay.
Headlining act.
Yeah,
Is that
headlining
the key?
act, and we had hotels were full, or restaurants were full, or downtown was full. How do we replicate that? Because we can't keep having Melissa Etheridge every year. Although I would love it, I'm a big fan of Melissa Etheridge. But what does that look like for 2025? Because my thing is we're spending money, and we have to. The money that we spend, it has to be spent on tourism. So it's to get people to come from out of town to Leavenworth. But if we're spending all this money to get them to come here, I want our businesses to prosper from that.
Sure.
So I want our local business owners to say, "Oh my gosh, Holly, I had the best weekend because of Camp Leavenworth," or "Because of Camp Leavenworth, I got this new customer and they keep coming back." And so tonight we're going to discuss that. So what does that look like? Because it's a cool festival.
I thought it was done really well.
Mhm.
I miss when it was most of the Delaware Street,
Yeah.
and you walk down Delaware Street. Felt like it was very contained, and as the crowds got bigger, it just felt very crowded.
Mm-hmm.
So my only recommendation is how can we spread
Bring it
that out
out,
a
yeah.
little bit more? Spread out some of the areas so that people are walking by the stores and seeing what's in the windows,
Yep.
and then that becomes advertisement in itself.
And that's another thing we're talking about tonight is street closures. So it's kind of been, I think it started in, was it last Christmas before, to have a Christmas market downtown, and it was super awesome. They had lots of vendors, and the stores would say, "Oh, this is right before Christmas. It was great for us." And it's on Delaware, but then the stores on Cherokee are like, "Hey, what about us?" And so, we'd have that, or we'd have when the Jeep thing came there, we shut down Cherokee. And so some companies were like, "Well, I can't have it like the event center. They can't host anything that day because there's no parking. So we have to find a street closure plan that works for everybody. And what does that look like? Because we obviously want to support our downtown businesses. So when people are spending money in Leavenworth, because our budget is so heavy on sales tax, it's like huge. So we all win, right?
Sure.
We're all winning. So what does that look like? So those are things I'm thinking about today. I'm thinking about street closures. I'm thinking about Camp Leavenworth. And I'm thinking about how cold it is. Like what kinds of things are we going to see? Are pipes going to freeze? Are, like we talked about, home? Did your pipe freeze?
It froze on the cold side in our half bathroom the other night, but we fixed it. Last year,
It
it
burst.
burst.
Oh no,
So
I know. So those are
we've
things,
taken a lot of precautions.
right? I'm thinking about. I think all the ice is gone, but what's that going to look like? So just things like that. That's what's on my mind for today, and I'm excited.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here and sharing. As we close, I just want to, today, I'm repping another nonprofit, the Cruise for Life Foundation. I've decided that every podcast I'm going to represent a different
Oh, I love that.
nonprofit that we support or that we have supported.
Mhm.
The Cruise for Life Foundation is all about the fight against fentanyl.
And did you know Leavenworth Police and our EMS are now have Narcan.
Mhm.
I do.
So-
I do.
Great.
Yep. Yep. Andrew Burris, who's the founder, his son was Cruz. Actually plays pickleball with us, and that's how I got involved.
Oh, you know you play pickleball.
I play pickleball Thursday mornings with him.
Oh, the
at
community center.
Genesis.
Oh, Genesis. Okay.
Yeah, so, but if you're looking for another opportunity to donate, or please consider the Cruise for Life Foundation. So
I feel like we need a part 2 because we didn't even talk about our brand new pickleball courts.
It's
you
true.
are welcome back anytime.
So yeah, we didn't even talk about that, and that's our basketball court. So
I think this was
Warm weather.
probably
warm weather
one.
talks.
one
Okay.
of our longest podcasts so far.
Oh,
So
sorry.
uh,
That's my fault.
that's okay. Thank you for joining us at SorWil Solutions. Next week we have Jack Curtis from United Kansas, the chairman and chairman of
Oh, that'd be
Kansas,
interesting.
will be on to talk about their platform. And we are inviting anybody who's interested. Please reach out to us. We want to hear everybody's opinions everywhere. We are not partisan by any means. Thanks again.